If you're brand new to AI, already using AI automations, or even running your own AI agency, I'm going to explain why making custom AI fine-tuned models is going to be an absolute game changer for you. And after I explain it, we're going to build a custom AI together in this video. Once we then train our new custom AI model, I'm going to show you how you can use it in a brand new AI automation. So guys, let's dive right into this breakdown. So first off, guys, what is LoRa, right? So a LoRa is a technique that reduces the number of trainable parameters by adding blah, 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 blah. But the basic way that you can actually understand this is that we're grabbing a small portion of an already existing AI model and we're customizing it with the data that we add to it. And so there's four main ways that you can customize AI. You can either do it through image models, text models, audio models, or video models. And so image models are like Midjourney, Flux, DALL-E, all these image generation models you can actually fine tune with your own images or products or anything. The next one would be text, right? So where would text be important is like if you're running an email automation or if you're writing a script automation, you can now fine tune the model to actually learn how you write. So it can actually write in ways that sound like you. And the last one is video. And this is why you guys need to learn this, because video is right now about to take the mainstream for AI. And if you know how to fine-tune AI models, especially fine-tuning AI video models, you're going to be at the cutting edge of the entire AI boom right now. So it's really exciting that you have the opportunity to learn the first three: text, image, and audio, but that'll prepare you for when video is coming. So today's custom AI breakdown, guys, is we're going to be basically building our own trained image generator, which will clone images of us, because there's so many use cases that I'm going to be using this for in the future. And so there's an Instagram automation method that generates leads for you automatically that I've completely built out. And it uses these cloned AI images and turns them into videos. So that's going to be an automation tutorial that'll be coming out in about a week, but this is the precursor to that. So you need to learn how to actually do this. So now that we know why we're making this fine-tuned model and why it's going to be really useful, I can actually explain what I'm already using it for my day-to-day life. So all of these images that you see are the images that I'm using for my thumbnails, because making thumbnails, for example, it takes a really long time. And to take a really nice picture of myself, I have to get up and I have to do something that'll just take way too much time, right? But if I can just create an avatar of me based on a prompt that is this high quality, then it makes more sense to do it that way. And it's been working really well for my thumbnail game. And like I said, in the future, it's going to work really well for our lead gen game on Instagram. So, all right, guys, so now that we know what we're going to be building, let's go ahead and let's get it done. So it's this Luca Taco AI toolkit, and this is what we're going to be using to fine tune our model. So we're going to head over to this train tab here. Once you head over there, we're going to start uploading the data that we want this AI to be trained on. And so really quick, I'm going to show you what that looks like. So these are the photos that we're going to be training the model on. So if I open this up, it's all just a bunch of photos of me. And what you guys have to do is add a whole variety of different images of yourself in different angles, different lighting, different seasons, different outfits, different facial expressions. And all of those will help give the AI a better understanding of how you look in all of these different environments. Once you do that, you want to then rename the photo to A_photo_of_me, because then the AI will know that the word me is correlated to you. And so when you're writing your prompts for the image generation, all you have to do in that prompt is write the word me, and it'll grab your image and it'll put it as the avatar. So once that's done, you're going to then grab that folder, you're going to click on it, and you're going to compress it into a zip file. So once you have the zip file, you can then head back to replicate. So on replicate, there's this image file upload section. So we're just going to grab this folder and we're going to drag it over to the images, and it'll prepare it for opening. Next thing we're going to do, guys, is we're going to name the model. So in this example, we're going to be training this AI to create thumbnail images of us, right? So we're just going to call this YouTube-thumbnail-test. And then, I don't know, I'll just add a number 3 because I've done it before. And we're going to leave it public. We're going to see that we're already choosing the best AI image generation model, which is this Black Forest Labs by Flux. And then we have to add our Hugging Face token. So we're going to head over to Hugging Face. We're going to head over to our account, and we're just going to click on Access Tokens. We're going to open that up. We're going to click Create New Token. We're going to give it that same name. So we're just going to write YouTube thumbnail test 3, and we're going to give it all these access, right? So we're going to give it access to the repository, the webhooks, the collections, and for it to make inference calls. So once that's done, you can just scroll down to the bottom here, click Create Token, and now you have your own API key for your new model. So you're going to copy that API key. You're going to head over back to replicate. And so back in replicate, we're just going to paste that token in. We're going to leave the steps at 1,000. We're going to leave everything else the same. And we're just going to update this repo ID. Now, this repo ID is really important because this is where the actual deployment ends up going. And so you actually have to make a brand new model on Hugging Face for that to happen. So on Hugging Face right here, we're just going to write us as the owner, and the model name will again be YouTube-thumbnail-test3. We don't need to give it a license. We can leave it as public and we can create the model. And so now when your fine-tuning model gets created, it's going to be represented here. And then that's what you can use to actually call your AI model from, right? So that looks good. We're going to head now back to our training model, and we're going to add in that LoRa that we just had in that previous step, right? So we just created this LoRa for it to go. So we're going to copy this in. We're going to head back to replicate, and we're going to paste that in. And the only thing that we have to add to this is this dash LoRa. Okay, and then everything should be good to go. And so all you have to do from here, guys, we have the name, we have the images, we have the HF token, we have the repo ID. Now we're just going to click create training. And so depending on how many steps you create will depend on how long it takes to fine tune the model, but also it depends on how many steps you want it to be will reflect in the quality of the fine tuning model. So since we're running 1,000 steps here, this is going to take about 10 to 20 minutes. But luckily for you guys, I already fine-tuned my own model, and so we can just skip this part once you guys see that it's working. So we're just going to give it a sec. It's going to compile all the information that it needs, and then it'll start fine-tuning, and then we can get into our next step. While that's happening, guys, if you want all of the resources to build your own AI SaaS, your own AI agency, or become one of the best affiliates for selling software in the world, I'd recommend joining our premium no-code community. It's the top link in the description. We literally guide you step by step to building your own AI business. So if that sounds interesting to you, I'll see you guys in there. But for the time being, guys, just smash this video with a like, subscribe to the boy if you can, and drop a comment of something you want to see in the future. So this rendering and this AI training just started. And so when it gets completed, basically this repo ID now becomes active. And so I already have my own repo ID. And so what we're going to do is we're going to show you how you can use this repo ID to start creating images of yourself. And so the first replicate that we used, guys, was a training replication. So we're just training a small portion of the entire Flux model on how we look. And so when we have that new repo ID, we could just put it in here as an HF LoRa. And so if we go back to our Hugging Face and we go to all of our models, I already have one from a month ago that's already working, right? So this one's called Test LoRa. And all I'm going to do is copy this in. So click copy. And then we're going to head back to our multi-dev flux capacitor. So this thing here is now a multi-dev, meaning it can take in multiple inputs. And so the first input we're going to give it is the new trained HF LoRa that we have. So we're going to add that as a value. And we're going to prompt it, right? So in this example, let's say we're going to be talking about fine-tuning AI models. So I'm going to write, I want a photo of me, which is the character that it's been trained on, to be working on a AI robot. Okay, so that should be fine. So basically what I want this image to be is like me working on an AI's robot head and then use that as a thumbnail. We'll see what happens. But one other thing you guys can do is you can change out the number of inputs, right? So it ranges from 1 to 4. I like putting it at 4 because then you get a whole bunch of options that you can choose from. And so we already have our LoRa in, and we can set this to 0.8 to give it a little bit of customization. And from there, all we really do is we click run. So there was already a mistake. So basically, this HF LoRa that you put in, it just has to be a string text. So when you put it in, you see how there's a little bit of space here? You literally just have to make it all connect. And so we're going to get rid of this one. We're going to add this LoRa in, and we're going to run it. So while this is working, you guys can also see that this model that you guys would be working on will be training. So it's going to be at maybe 11% by the time you're at this point in the tutorial, and that's okay. Okay, guys, so based off of a really, really low level prompt, it was able to give us pretty high quality images, right? So it wasn't exact, but it shows me in the background working on the motherboard that it goes into the brain of the robot. This one's pretty good as well, where it actually shows me like working on the AI, which is actually like pretty dope. We have one more here, And with a couple of fine-tuned prompts, then obviously you can make this way better. But what's really important is to actually see the quality of my own AI image, right? So you can see this looks quite similar to me. It actually looks very, very good here. And same with this one, right? And so this prompt is just really bad. So we can just play around with this prompt and make sure that it works well. But the more important thing is that now that you have this thing working, we can now turn it into an entire automation. And so the automation can then create these images, and we can fine tune the automation so that it sends a really high level prompt to this request. And so the way that we do that is by breaking down this JSON file. So this is the JSON file that we're going to be sending in when we want these types of outputs, right? And so that goes right into your make.com automations and right into any type of automation that you want. Then you can start putting these fine-tuned models into certain automations. And so in this example, you can put any person's trained face into a thumbnail generator automation, and you can start producing thumbnails at scale for anyone with this exact workflow. So let's just see how good the quality is. So if we this prompt here, a picture of me in a Superman suit hovering above the city of Toronto in 4K ultra realistic quality. Me is in the center of the image with a slight smile on my face. This is still nothing crazy in terms of in terms of what we're actually asking the AI to produce, but that's all right. So we're just going to click run this one more time, and then we'll move on. All right, so we just got our output back. Here we go. We got a really dope looking photo. Me with the exact CN Tower in the background. I'm hovering. That's really cool. Here we have another one. And it also really listened in on me being in the center of the frame, because now I'm really close up to the frame. That looks pretty cool. I mean, these all look pretty cool, to be honest, and they all look like me as well. So we know that the actual fine-tuning worked and everything is set up to go. And the even reason why that this video was important is not because of what you can do with the image LoRa's, but what you can transform them into. And so I have a future video coming of how we're going to use these LoRa's for our Instagram lead gen automation. So you guys just learned how to use these LoRa's for thumbnail generations and image generations, but now we're going to show you how you could turn it into videos, where that video will then start creating sales for whatever thing that you're selling.